Welcome into your Week 14 Browns film breakdown mailbag, like we always do about this time. Brought to you by FanDuel and Monfredi Dental. Browns film breakdown answers all your questions from the Founders Chat to the Substack Chat, managing your way through all things Week 14 and what the Browns will look at this week and into the offseason. It's a jam-packed show. Jake Burns, Brad Ward, Browns Film Breakdown, brought to you by FanDuel and Monfredi Dental, starts right now. All right, here we are, Week 14, Browns Film Breakdown, Mailbag Edition. Love to do the mailbag. Love your questions. Love the community weighing in, Jake, with all their questions, all things Browns. As we really manage our way through a tough part of the season, but also very interesting. Decisions are right around the corner that will impact this organization in a major way. Crazy things are happening, like Sean Watson in his 21-day window, and it's a good time to do this mailbag, especially before this epic battle where we all need the Titans to win against our Browns on Sunday. So
I'm going to lead us off, Brad. Couple questions for you. You ready?
for me, okay,
Let's do it. So reports out today, Jeremy Fowler around the league, stuff that he does. I don't know how he really phrases it, but I want to make sure I'm getting that right. But it felt very, I don't know if ominous is the right word, but the timing of these things is usually never that strange. Like these things get put out for a reason. And he asked the question, would Kevin Stefanski be a viable head coaching candidate if the Browns move on from him? And he says that multiple league executives said yes, right? He said, Dan Graziano has been calling sources around the league for the latest news and buzz. That ties into Shedeur Sanders. That ties into Kevin Stefanski. And the question comes up around the Browns and, whether Kevin would be, because I think we've all talked about this loosely, that the Browns moved on. Would he immediately get a head coaching job? But that would be interesting to me because, like, we talked to our guys at Dolphins Talk when that interview happened, and they were into I'd hire Stefanski in a minute, right? Yeah. And he also thought the Dolphins are significantly worse than the Browns. They've gone on to have more success after that loss to the Browns, but again, these are bad teams. But here's some of the stuff I just wanted to highlight for you, and then I want to throw the question to you. So the buzz around the league after a couple Shedeur Sanders starts was, about what I expected. 2 games, need to figure some things out, et cetera, et cetera. But the idea that Kevin Stefanski could be a coach somewhere else, he says, the future comes up often in conversations with people in the league due to the Browns' 6-23 record the past 2 seasons. Another reason his name comes up, several executives and coaches I've spoken to believe he'd be a prime candidate for a head coaching job elsewhere should Cleveland move on after the season. And here's the quote. He's a good coach, experienced, 2-time coach of the year. Cleveland's a hard place to win. An AFC executive said he might need a fresh start elsewhere. Do you think if he is let go at the end of this year, he's getting a job immediately? Not in the future. I think it's very easy to justify him in the future for somebody. Yeah. But do you think he gets hired some other place right away?
2 years ago, I would have said yes, because I thought he was respected at that level. But I've just seen too much go the opposite way, and the way I feel about him as an offensive mind has kind of changed in the past 2-3 years. So I would say no. I think he probably has to go be an OC somewhere or a consultant for a year and kind of prove it 1 year, and then he could probably get back in. It's not a long trip for him because I feel like he still is respected around the league. But people have to understand that Coach of the Year is such a narrative-driven award. Mm-hmm. Like, they like to hang a lot on those awards, but they're so narrative driven. There's not like a lot of meat on that bone, I don't think.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. And it feels to me like the idea of Kevin getting a job right away somewhere else depends on how much the inner workings of the NFL know about the difficulty of coaching the Browns, right? That quote stands out where they say Cleveland's a difficult place to win. is the surrounding there that is just an ownership thing, Brad? Is that a wink wink? Ownership is the problem? Like, where do you know what I mean? I know that nobody's won here consistently. I understand the history, 23 of 27 seasons, all that. But when you say that, I would love to know specifically what that means. I think it's fair to say that ownership has hindered more than helped at certain elements of this job, but saying that and like giving Kevin a free pass, that smells to me like the league or whoever he spoke to or whatever. Maybe, like I said, it's more broadly known across the NFL that you're coaching against obstacles here, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like what's being said there?
It does. I think a lot of it has to do with just the fact that nobody else has done it in 40 or whatever many 30
Right.
years,
Yeah.
even to the level that he was able to do it.
Mhm.
So I think that's part one of that. Part two is probably playing in the AFC North. And part three is probably just the nonsense that has gone over the years, whether it be before Haslam or with Haslam, but in other regimes. And I hate when people group all of the Browns everything into one thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because
Mhm.
to me, it's like should be evaluated regime by regime and or ownership group by ownership group, however you want to look at it. But it can be broken down any number of ways that way. But I think that definitely, and then there's probably some stuff that we're not totally aware of that, to your point, I'm not privy to anything other than just Haslam being Haslam, right?
Right. Doesn't it feel like they'd sit down? The first thing Kevin would be asked in an interview, or one of the first things, is where did you stand on the Deshaun Watson trade? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, I think that would come up, but I also think there's to me, Brad, the only way he's getting a job is if the league knows about some difficulties that we just don't know about. And it's very easy to like explain away. I mean, if you slow down and think about it, a coach, what do we think the rest of the way? They win 2 games maximum. So there's what, 5 games left. So at best, 8-25, 8-26
Yeah.
over 2 years would never get an interview somewhere else immediately. They'd have to almost go at bare minimum the Vrabel route, right? And take a year off and do the analyst role and then kind of, go from there and maybe have a job in a couple years when things kind of cool out and separate. But if you're getting a job immediately after leaving this place, it to me, and I'm not trying to get tinfoil hat on this thing, but like
Mm,
if your record is, at best 8-26 over 2 years, the only way you're getting a pass is if like, hey man, we know what you were dealing with. That's the only way to me. Am
yeah.
I wrong on that?
No, I don't think you are. And I also think probably the NFL, like the inner NFL people,
Yeah,
probably look at the Watson thing a little less critical than
that's true. That's
outside the
probably true
NFL because
because
they're
of how
probably
many
like
teams were in on it, and it's a
the
yeah,
process is good there. You
yeah,
got to go for it and swing there. Like,
yeah,
who did we see this outcome as a
yeah.
team? Probably not.
I think that's a great
Um,
way of putting it. I think the question might be more in line with what hand did you have in the failure of Deshaun Watson as a player? Why was he not
not
the
being
same
able
with
to,
you
yeah,
that he was with other? Because you're right about the inner workings of the NFL. It wasn't crazy for those people, those teams, multiple teams, to be pursuing him after the charges were dropped. The league's just wired that way. So
yeah,
that's a good point. The other thing I wanted to ask you, because that's kind of all of what Fowler put out, but I just found like the timing of that going into December in Berea and like getting the focal point of the tweet to be that Stefanski would get jobs elsewhere felt very
yeah,
pointed to me.
yeah,
And none of those things at this time of year are the type of things. Because I was listening to a podcast around the inner workings of college coaches and how Penn State is struggling to get their next coach, and
yeah.
that one agent represents a significant amount of coaches in the college level. Like only I think like how many teams in the SEC? 12 or 13. Like there was like
Hmm.
only two SEC coaches that weren't represented by this agent. And when
That's
Penn
crazy.
State, he felt like Penn State wrongfully fired Franklin, didn't like how they went about it. He's basically been like working extensions for other guys. I saw some number where it was like $300 million worth of extensions have happened for coaches that Penn State has been loosely connected to.
Wow.
And who knows, Matt Campbell might end up going there, which I think would actually be a pretty good fit.
That'd
But
be great for them. Yeah.
um, I just like at this time of year, the smell of it is like, agents for the coach doing a favor, doing the thing they got to do to support their guy. And, I don't know how any of this is going to work out. You and I have, it's not even that much fun to put conjecture on it. It'll work itself out one way or the other. But like the immediacy of saying he'd be hired by some other places, I just felt like was at least worth bringing up.
Yeah, Orlovsky had something to say about that the Giants should go
Yeah.
hire him right
Yeah.
away as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of has like the pedigree and like there does just feel like there's a bubble around Cleveland. Like, wow, what he did there, despite everything else, is different compared to doing it in any other city,
I
and
think
that gives him like an elevated look approach by like certain teams. Yeah.
right. And I don't even know that I would be so much bothered by Kevin leaving and getting a job somewhere else. I wouldn't be bothered by, but I think it does get to the point where the scar tissue of things that have happened here and the duration at which they've happened, Baker, the elements of Deshaun, how the Deshaun thing has failed. There's just some damage that gets done where at some point everybody looks at each other and it's like, we gave this a try and it didn't work.
Right.
At this point, continuing to do it the way we're doing it, I don't think it's going to yield the type of result we're all hoping for. But that doesn't also mean that Kevin couldn't go somewhere, New York, like you just mentioned, and find some success. So,
Yeah, but I mean,
we'll see.
based off of what we've watched him do offensively,
Yeah,
he
I'd be
seems
hard. Yeah.
he seems behind the rest of the league. And it feels like smart people, maybe not so much executive, but coaching level people would recognize that more than
Mm-hmm.
executives.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's kind of a convoluted mess of where he stands, and probably varies a lot from one room to another if you think about it, right? Like if some people really drilled down on his film for the past 2 years or his offensive EPA your point over 3 seasons, like that would be enough to scare me off.
Yeah, I
Until he
also think
proved it otherwise.
he could get in the room and very easily justify a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I do think it
Yeah.
is interesting that he could certainly land another job right away. I don't think I would be feeling like, man, the Browns really screwed that up if he does.
No,
I think it's a wish him well thing. I think it has just gotten to the point where the course has been run. I don't know what else to say about it based
they
on
need
how
a
the guys are
new
playing.
voice. They need a new
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
The voice has to change in there, and like basically wholesale a lot of the offensive staff there. I feel like needs to go as well. So, um,
Last
it
question.
makes yeah.
Deshaun Watson going to start another game here? What's your hunch? What's your belly tell you?
No,
Yeah. Same. I don't know how you can do it. I think he's on the roster and I think they're manipulating him on the roster next year. I just don't know how you if we're talking about Kevin maybe being let go,
how you hire
how a
him.
new coach wants to start him, right? There's a world where you can convince a new coach that we're just going to keep him in the background and we'll make it work for a year. But I don't know how you could get a guy to come here and be like, hey, we're going to draft Dante Moore, third overall, and we want him to sit for 8 games, and you got to start Deshaun Watson for a while. Like,
Ugh.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. I mean, obviously Jimmy has said what he said, and he said some pretty harsh things about the failure. What is he, 19 games out of 63 possible games since he's come here? Jimmy called it a mistake, and he's gone very blunt on comments. And I don't know that the actions, at least for me, Brad, the actions of what they're doing don't tell me anything. If a guy's healthy enough to get out there and he's cleared, he's going to be allowed to practice.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop him from practicing, right? But I don't think let me put it this way. I feel like there's a big difference between letting a guy do the protocol things when they're coming back from an injury and practicing versus making them active in the 21-day window. And then not only just making him active, but then actually allowing him to start a football game for you.
Yeah,
That's
and
the difference for me.
yeah, and the conversation that we had yesterday, as far as if Kevin's gone,
Mm-hmm.
trying to hire a coach and explain to him that you have to deal with Watson on the roster. but at the same time understanding the financial consequences of
Hmm.
pushing him off the roster and basically becoming unable to be competitive or take the steps forward you probably want to as an offense. And that really takes them to a point of like, are we willing to sacrifice what the quality of a head coach we can get to do this? Or are they just better off keeping Kevin for another year because of that?
Which kind of stinks, right? It's that's like,
That's a lousy feeling, but I feel like that was kind of our biggest takeaway after
yeah.
looking at all that stuff and
After we
hashing it
lost
out.
the audio of that for a long conversation yesterday about it, but you're
Yeah.
summarizing it well. The question does become like, and it's not a great head coaching pool this year, I don't think. This so far. We'll
Mm-mm.
see if it shapes up any better in the next month. But like, yeah, I mean, do you have somebody who wants to navigate that? You can have an airtight plan for it. We got this set up, but any curveball could happen. Any side interview could happen. Any quote to give into a report can just throw everything off.
Yeah.
It's certainly something they can navigate, but it's also something that I think could get really hairy. It's possible that it could get really hairy at any given moment because
Yeah.
somebody says something or some action, some like, hype videos put out there. It just is
Yeah, there's always
I
gonna be the hype videos.
yeah.
Uh, It's like
So
I'd like to think that they could sell. I'd like to think the Browns could sell a coach on
mhm.
doing it,
Well, there's good
but
parts to sell,
but
obviously.
to your guys' point, like a guy can just go, I'll go take this job where I don't have to deal with any of this stuff.
Yeah. I think there's enough good to sell here with how Jimmy runs the cap, with how they're, the picks they have. There's enough to convince somebody. I just am curious what the plan is and how airtight is that plan that a
Yep.
coach feels comfortable knowing he won't have to deal with this in any way. Like if I were coming to Cleveland, I would just be like, that's fine. I understand the situation you put yourself in with him, but I need you to guarantee me I don't have to waste my energy on this because I'm trying to get the culture changed here.
I
I'm
don't know
trying to
how
do
you
these
can
things that
guarantee
matter.
that with
I
him.
know
Yeah.
that's the tricky part is like, can you guarantee it? I don't. We'll find out soon enough. We'll certainly know very quickly. First of all, if they feel like they have to keep Kevin to navigate this for another year, and
And how
obviously, then we figure out if they can get people in the door to even talk to him about
like how
this.
transparent do you think Deshaun will be behind the scenes, like in a conversation with the Browns, like where they tell him their true intentions and lay it out on the table? Financially, we restructured this way because
Mhm.
of this. We want to push this money out. We don't want every desire to play you. We want to turn it. We want to do this. Where are you at with this? Um,
I mean,
and
you
if
would
he
agree. You would
pushes
agree with
back,
me. His football future is dancing a very fine line right now. You
yep,
would agree with me on that because he's not played like we. What did I say? 19 of 63 possible games
yep,
he's played. Hasn't played well in many of them at all. Is pushing 30. Might be 30 now. Pushing 30. Coming off
mhm,
double Achilles tear. Like I feel like he can't sit in the. This is just me. If I was his agent, I would just explore. I would be exploring every avenue I could to figure out if the Browns don't want him to play, which is very possible. We have no intentions of playing you. What can we do to get him to another team? Is there like, and I don't know that he wants to give any money up here. I don't that would be
I
a
can't
real leap of a
imagine
decision. Yeah. Yeah.
that
Given that.
you'd be hanging on to every dollar you got from that deal.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I just have this feeling that him sitting another year and then maybe even making it difficult on the Browns in some way where he's doing the uncomfortable stuff in the background like we talked about little hype videos and his quarterback coach is saying stuff. How would a team want to welcome that in then, right? Like you need Watson to be a model citizen to like want to bring him into your fold period because you know all the pushback you're already going to get. So,
That's kind
yeah.
of like the thing. I was like, if you're before you even send Stefanski packing, you probably need to have this conversation and understand going in what your plan is. Like, we've already talked with them, so if a coach has questions about this, we can sit him down and
Yeah.
say, look,
Yeah.
we talked with Deshaun. He's fine playing the veteran backup role for another year while he continues to rehab his leg and tries to change his image, understanding that that's his best chance to get a job elsewhere by
Mm-hmm.
playing that role, or is it trying to get on the field somehow? Um,
It's
yeah,
fat. It's the thing behind closed doors that's probably going to
shape a lot.
shape the decisions that we won't know about.
Yep.
Right? That's the thing that stings. Okay. Good conversation there. We are going to take a quick break and then we will be right back with all of your fantastic questions. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back with Browns Film Breakdown, brought to you by FanDuel. Founders Chat questions, Jake. Time for the mailbag. Stan kicks us off with a fantastic question, actually, and it kind of plays off of what we were just talking about a little bit. But if you could privately ask Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski one question and get an honest response, so like, does this involve some kind of drugging? I would assume.
Yeah. Truth serum, as they call
Truth
it, right?
serum. Yep. Because I don't think they would offer that truth without it.
No.
What would it be?
All right. I think that most people would probably want to jump right into who
Watson.
made the Watson choice. I feel like the variables on that, getting an answer that satisfies you, is probably not going to be high. I do think to some degree they were all in on it, right? Like I do think that's true, even though maybe Jimmy greenlit a certain amount of money or Andrew requested to get that money and then Jimmy approved it, whatever. There's a couple that I find myself interested in on this. For Kevin, it would be, were you forced to hire Ken Dorsey? That's my question. Because I think everything Kevin has been about offensively changed the moment they went into the 24 season. They started to really find some rhythm at the end of 23, and then everything felt like it shifted and he's lost his way since then. Not that the 23, excuse me, like the 23 season was uneven, but when they got Joe in the right spot at the end of that year, they felt very cliquish. Like they started to get there. And then the hiring of Dorsey, changing things. I just want to know, was he forced to change things for Watson the way it was reported that ownership and DePodesta were not happy with the development of Watson here? That's the one I would want to ask.
Yeah, I would pony off of that a little, and basically like in the same light, I would want to know like how much power have you had? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, have you been told this and forced into this? Because I feel like they would be in a better spot if they had given Kevin more power all along the way.
Mm-hmm. I think
But
that's a fair question for sure.
what would your question of Andrew?
Why'd you take Jedrick Wills? Every metric in the world at the time felt like it was a selection for Wirfs. Just like a guy who actually had some tape on that side. And listen, I understand that there was a lot to like still about Jedrick Wills, but in the narrow spots there, like it was going back and looking. I just want to know who had that large opinion. Did they listen to other voices and get swayed on that? That's all I would want to know. I feel like everything was there for them to take Wirfs and they didn't. And I would just like to know
Why?
who was the main trigger point in doing that. If it was him, that's cool, man. That's the answer I needed to understand. But if it was like, well, we really listened to Callahan on this and we had Joe Thomas in to consult us and he liked Jed, and like, I just would want to know. That's all I'm asking.
I would ask him outside of Deshaun Watson, take that off the table. What is the thing you most regret doing as the
That's
GM of the Browns?
a good question.
But like forced, like he's taking the truth serum. He has to be brutally honest. Like, so he would maybe come forward with something we didn't even know he had a hand in, right? So
that's way more open ended and exploratory than mine. You could also ask about were you forced to take Shador Sanders, but
yeah,
That's
I think that goes into
that's
that power
closed.
dynamic stuff.
He could also answer that one as an answer for your question. So that's why your question is a better question. So there we go. All right. Good question. I like that.
All right. Artie Peshaman weighing in. Appreciate you, Artie. If the Browns were to try to mimic the Jets with trading defensive talent, pardon me, for assets or even players, who'd be a player on the team to move? Be a lot more difficult for the Browns to do, I would say, initially because of the way their contracts are structured. And I'm shocked. I'll just say this, prefacing your next comment, but I am shocked that it has worked for the Cowboys as successfully as it
Yeah.
has.
Yeah. I am too. Largely, I mean, again, let's analyze why has Dallas sort of started to turn it around. I would say they have an elite set of offensive weapons.
Yes,
And they
no
have a
question.
nice run game offensive coordinator this year that's pairing that with the natural pass weapons. And then it's like defense is so fickle, you do start to figure some things out, string some better games together. You know what I'm saying? And then that's just like the perfect example of why having more talent for offense is always a safer consistency bet.
Yep.
So I think if you're looking at like what would the Browns do to sort of like try to match that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you doing the exact same thing where you're giving up Denzel and you're giving up Miles? I don't want to
And
do that, right? I
it
don't
would
love the idea of
probably
it.
be more like Mason.
It could be. I actually thought the idea of like trying to trade a non-premium like Carson. I love Carson, but
Yeah,
like getting something significant for him off of the high of a defensive rookie of the year looking really
right.
special. But again, a non-premium position where Tarver seems to do pretty well with almost every linebacker they play.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, could you get a late first round pick for that? I don't know. I know linebackers don't get valued the way we think, but I would
yeah.
like wait that. But yeah, Mason would probably be another guy you would dangle out there, especially with his recent film, who
Just
you
because
could
of
maybe try to get
yeah,
something similar back for. But yeah, I don't. It's
the
it's a good
age and the
question.
contract makes it easier to move those guys and probably request more back than trading somebody like obviously Miles would get a big touchdown.
Hmm.
Miles would get a big you know haul, but like what you're doing to your own
Yeah, I don't think Micah, because he hasn't played
finances.
as long. Like he hasn't played as long in Dallas as Miles has played in Cleveland. And I know Miles, irked a lot of people with the request this offseason, but he's still. It's hard, man, because when you do move on from him, he's clearly the best in the world at what he's doing,
Mhm.
and that's hard, right? Now, maybe again down the line it works out, and you get back the players that 2 years later you're like, it sucked to do that, but we got this wide receiver and this quarterback, and we're okay now. But it's still a hard thing to do, and I would tell you that most Dallas fans weren't happy with that
No.
move. I think Jets fans are more understanding of it, but yeah, it's tough. Those type of franchise altering moves they're hard. They're hard.
Indifferent for every franchise because you're just in a little bit. It gets hard to really find parallels
Mhm.
in a lot of these
Mhm.
situations that really even up. So good question. I think that you could look at any number. The Browns have a number of young ascending players that I think that you could try to transfer into offensive assets if you wanted to go that route.
Yeah,
I don't think they will, but
I agree.
I think they'll try to keep this defense in place. Jim Russell, next question. After seeing a certain Hall of Fame quarterback on the golf course where I work in Hawaii, I wondered who would be your Browns foursome? Three players and you. Current Browns for me would be Njoku, Batonio, and probably Miles. All-time Browns maybe Otto Graham, Brian Sipe, and Bernie. Who's in your group?
Hmm. The current guys, I'm more worried about like, are they decent golfers and can they like keep up?
Oh,
Like,
really?
like I don't know, man. Like I don't want to sit out there for 8 hours and watch like some guy who can't even hit a ball just to,
Yeah.
beat the thing around the
Um.
course. It's like we've talked about everything we can talk about, and now it's like we're on hole four. Oh God.
Mhm.
That's a good question.
So
Go ahead. But Joel
I
would be
got
good because he's
mine.
got stories. He's just been here
Yeah, he
forever.
would be good. I think
Go ahead with you.
I think Njoku would be incredibly interesting, or not Njoku. Pardon me. I'm gonna go with JOK.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly interesting man. Um, I like listening to him talk. No matter when he talks, he's great, and I think that he would be wildly interesting. I would choose Martin Emerson because personality-wise, he's my favorite player, despite what may have happened to his career this year. He still was my favorite going in
Hmm.
personality-wise. So I would want to play with Martin because I like him a lot, and I think he would be a lot of fun. And then third, man, that'd be a tough one. Maybe Grant Delpit, probably.
Delpa would be good. It was cool to see him be the Walter Payton nominee this year.
Yeah,
It was really neat for him. He's come a long way
he has.
off that rough start in the Achilles and all of that stuff. Yeah, good stuff. I would go Joel. I like JOK too. Just he's a very thoughtful dude. Very one of my favorite press conference guys they've ever had. Just the answers he would
Yeah.
give. The third active player on the team would be interesting to me. That's a tough. That's man. I don't know that I even have a third one. Do I have a third one? I'm not convinced that I do. Are there that many other interesting guys? Denzel's so quiet, he wouldn't talk the whole time we were out
Yeah.
there. Probably Miles. I just think Miles is fun.
Yeah.
He's like just a broad variety of interests and all of that. And yeah, that's where I'll go.
Denzel's up there for me. He is quiet and
Yeah,
nice, but
get him a couple beers and he'll open up a little bit, maybe talk a
yeah.
little bit. As far as like the legends go, or all time Browns, I feel
Yeah.
like Baker would be a fun golf guy
Bake?
to have out there. He'd let it rip. So you'd probably say Baker.
Josh Gordon?
Yeah, I wouldn't let him drive. I
Depending
probably
on
would let him drive the
if
cart, but
you
but,
you're you're
yeah.
how much you like to partake.
What about
Um
Kellen Winslow? Would you be interested in?
no, that's okay.
No,
We're good.
no, pass on
No.
that one. Yeah, I mean, our memory doesn't take us into
I'll
too many
tell you
very
this.
fun ones because
I've
of
had
the losing.
on the same podcast together cuz they were really good friends and still are, I'm sure. But on the same podcast together, I've had Biner and Metcalf, and they together are
Probably
like
hilarious.
they are so funny, dude. They
Yeah,
just go back and forth, ripping on each other, making fun of each other, laughing hysterically. Like you just let them go. So I would probably pick those two just because I've seen their dynamic together.
that's good.
Um,
I like that. Tim Couch might be fun too, because Tim's
yeah,
got all that startup team
yeah,
experience. You know,
and maybe
it'd be
like
fun.
either Hanford or like Webster Slaughter or something like that. I like those guys too.
Yeah, some good choices. I dig it. All right, good question, Jim. Enjoy your Hawaii golf. We're all jealous in the depths
Yeah,
of winter
man.
here.
Hawaii.
So,
Good Lord. All right. Yeah, I'm worried about covering up my air conditioning with
me
a
too.
tarp and
I
bungee
forgot. I
cord.
bought the stuff to do that and
I
didn't
haven't
do it.
done it yet. Yeah, me
Just got
same
snowed
here.
on like crazy. So well done by
Yeah,
me. Well done by
yeah,
us.
yeah.
There we
Way to
go.
go, guys. Um, yeah. So enjoy Hawaii. Substack chat time. Here we go. We're gonna nail it down here. We'll maybe try to pick up the pace a little bit, but here we're Kyle with the question: preference in coaching candidates if they fire Kevin. Also, we worried about Jim Schwartz leaving, hurting this defense, or is the talent too good?
Well, I don't think it's the end of the world if they lose Jim. I think there's enough talent for another defensive coordinator to come in here and do fine, but it's not a guarantee. So it's not like
No,
I think hand waving away Jim Schwartz being gone is not the right way to go about it. So especially when you're looking to say like, what's the next group gonna like? Anytime you get new people, new coaches, new whatever, you get optimistic and you don't ever really entertain what could happen on the negative side. And personally, I do think that there's when you're entrenched in the system they've run now for years, there's just that possibility that you could just, guys don't fit that same structure, the same approach, and it's all new, and there's growing pains, and some of the, what's the phrase, like the bathwater, get, the babies in the bathwater thing get, flushed down, that could be good, like you just don't, because they're not our guy, that kind of stuff. So I won't do that. And then the head coaching candidates, man, I think more than anything else, I understand people's drive for an offensive guru and these different. I just want a motivator. I just like, and that doesn't even mean that it has to be a football guy, a true, football old school type. I just want somebody who can establish culture and has a really sound plan for how they're going to go about conducting accountability, the right types of cultural fits for the organization. That's the stuff I'm going to be paying attention to. And I don't yet have, I will dig into this when they fire Kevin. That's when I'll really dig into it, if they do.
Yeah, there's a couple of names that are out there of interest. Just I think anybody from the tree that we talked about the other night, LaFleur and McVay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have LaFleur's little brother is out there. Mike LaFleur with the Rams. That would be certainly a stone I'd like to turn over and pursue.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got the other guy from the Rams that was with PFF way long ago. He's with the
Robinson, I think it is.
Zach
Yeah.
Robinson.
Yeah.
These are interesting guys to me. I don't know if they fall into your category as much as would be the concern. Maybe LaFleur.
Yeah. I don't really just have a sound opinion on it yet.
Yeah,
Those names are
I'd
definitely
have
in the
to
mix.
dig deeper there.
Yeah.
Um,
And we
I
will
also,
when the time comes.
yeah, I also think Cliff has done a surprisingly good job. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I would be interested in seeing what people think about him as a head coach. All right. Tyson Daly is weighing in. Is there a price too high to pay for Moore or Mendoza? Would you trade 3 first-round picks for either if that's what it took? It's just we have so many offensive holes to fill. Also, this is from left field. Corley must be a better runner than wide receiver. Why not try to turn him into the next Debo or maybe Patterson, who switched to running back after all the years of wide receiver? He just looks different with the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
So
I think extension of the run game stuff with Corley
yeah,
is very fair. I'd like to continue to get him involved in shallow portions of the field where you can explode, vertically and try to allow him to get in space and create tough yards. I like that role for him. It's a very defined role. It's not going to be flooded with touches, but there's enough there, enough meat on the bone. It's a nice role. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Does a good
definitely.
job blocking in that
Hmm.
role. I'd like to make him. Hopefully, he would develop into more of a wide receiver. He could play that role at some level traditionally, like
Yeah.
Debo.
Yeah.
But
He's
either
done
way,
it. He's not immune to it, but I think
no,
getting him people to fear him getting the football shallow is going to open up more for him in the intermediate. You know what I mean? I
agreed,
think that's an angle they could take there.
agreed. What about the price for Moore Mendoza? I don't
Yeah,
think there's any price that you can cap it at if you really love them.
if they're really good, if they turn out really good, you will never care about the picks. That's the
Yeah,
theory about Watson when they made the move. Like if he's really good, you don't care about what you gave up to get him because you have a quarterback who matters and is going to be significant. Now, there's obviously more weight to Watson because of everything at the time, but you get what I'm saying. Like that's how he feels. Like when you sit here and say giving up 3 first round picks for a quarterback that maybe isn't consensus at the top of this, people are going to be like, that's a lot. That's too much. And I understand totally. Now, I don't align with filling everything around the quarterback. I think I think getting the quarterback and then building the things around him is just as sufficient a way to go about this. So I don't believe that you have to have everything perfectly in place to draft a guy. I think you can just take the talented football player and then work on building around them over time. But I would say like there are people that are going to feel that there's too much there to give up. And I think the fair point, Brad, which is like, if they hadn't done the Watson thing where they missed out on 3 years of first round picks, you wouldn't have as big an issue at all with doing this.
No.
You did, and then you're still trying to supplement missing years and years of first round picks. That's where it becomes trickier. So I think if they do that, it's going to get some negative reactions, put it that way.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I think if you get a guy, if like you draft Dante Moore or Mendoza, and we're in year 2028 and they're pretty good, they don't even have to be the elite guys yet, but they're top 12 quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks in the league with a bright future, and they're doing all the right things, you won't care. You really
No.
won't care. So, nobody
They've
knows. Nobody
solidified
knows,
the
man.
role.
Yeah. I just feel like we get so worked up about this. And the thing that you should do is, like, to me, it's recognize the risk. What was the process here? The risk is this. Let's see how it works out, because I don't have all that information. I can tell you what I think of them as football players. I can tell you I think Mendoza is a firm first-round quarterback, and I think top 15 of the draft, and I think Dante Moore is also a top. I would go so far as to say top 7, top 5 worthy. But that's that people don't all feel the same way, so it's going to be met with some mixed emotions.
You have Moore ahead of Mendoza right now?
I think for the nature of the age, and I think some of the things I like the way he processes things, I have him slightly out in front. But I like both of them. I like both of them.
No,
I don't have a, you know what I mean? I don't have, so I would not be bothered by either guy that they would get, but I do have Moore as a higher upside quarterback for me.
Simpson?
He's still like, I would grade him kind of similarly to Dart, like late for. I need to rewatch all of it once the year's over.
Yeah.
He's had a rough stretch lately. I think he was a little better in the Auburn game, but in the accuracy stuff can concern people sometimes too. But he likes to play over the middle. There's enough things that are good enough there for me to be interested. Like if you were to say, "Hey, we are taking Carnell Tate at pick 8 and taking Ty Simpson at pick 26," kind of similar to Dart. Okay, let's go. Let's see what we can do. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, he's interesting. He's certainly fallen off a little bit, but in clutch moments in the Auburn game, he made some big plays. So
he sure did. He's got talent. There's no doubt about it. It's some of the way that Alabama structures their offense is and DeBoer did this with Penix, and we're seeing a little bit of it, where sometimes things feel predetermined, even though they're not. It looks like he's scanning one side to the other, but almost some things are getting predetermined to get to these spots. So that's something I'll try to highlight when we break down some tape of him. But there's a lot to like. I think the arm is live. I do have some concerns about when facing pressure and how the accuracy can deviate for him, but he's still first round worthy, and there's enough traits there to really like.
Yeah. Very cool. Having 3 guys there worth a first round swing is a good thing for the Browns.
And if Sellers, there could be shocks here. Like if Arch does come out, which is, if he gets like a top 5, top 10 recommendation from the committee, like he could very easily say, okay, then I'll just come out. I'll just go. And, I like Nate Tice even echoed it recently. There's enough there that teams would feel compelled to take him high. Yeah. And it's the same with Lenore Sellers. The tools are interesting enough. There could be 5 guys. I think a lot of folks want to, define this class before guys make decisions. And I'm like, let's see. I'm interested because I do think that what some guys will see is like, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams at the top that are going to be interested in taking you. And when you get picked in the top 5 to 7 picks, that's a nice, chunk of guaranteed coin to be had there.
What's the knock on Sayin that he's not considered elite like these guys?
I think he's getting there. I think some of it for him is he's not a great athlete, so he really does not run. Like I think he's only had 11 scrambles all year, so you are concerned about like what's the athlete like? Is he a 6'1.5", 6'1 ish non-mobile passer in the NFL?
Yeah,
that's a little scary. I don't know that the arm is. Yeah, he's not. I mean, I guess he could be maybe 6'2". I don't, I don't have that out in front of me here, but I think he's like 6'1", 6'1 and a half. Because he's not a
Okay.
very big guy. And then like he doesn't run that well. And so there's not that like back pocket escapability that Mendoza and Moore have, right? As better athletes and the like. And even Simpson can run a little bit. And then like on top of all of that, I don't know that I think he plays with really good anticipation. I think his arm is good enough, but it's not great. So you're then talking about some stuff here where you're like a little undersized, not a very good athlete,
Yeah.
not an elite arm. But
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a very good college quarterback because he plays with the mental sharpness that will always work at the college level. He just sees things, processes it, and gets rid of it. But what's that look like for a big time NFL quarterback, Brad? I don't know the comp.
Yeah. It's a great question. I don't know it either. All right. Brian Adams, do you think the Browns actually care about the fans' attitude toward the team? Like, does anyone anywhere in the building say fans are gonna be so mad if we play Deshaun, or do you think it's a total non-factor? It's got to be a factor.
I don't see it how it can't be a fact. They made a lot of choices that have been so dumb. I think asking the question that's being asked here is fair, right? Like, I get it. I don't think when you're moving, and this is a part of what Peter said last night, which I do agree with, and I wish we could have salvaged that audio, but when you're moving to a new dome and you're upping the prices on everything and you're not winning the way you should be, you do have to take into
Be
account what
aware.
your fans think in some capacity. I would like to. Are the Browns good at this? Not clearly not. I don't think they're very um I don't know the right way to phrase this. I don't think they're the sharpest knives in the drawer at the most important decision spots, like around marketing, right? Like the dude wipe stuff. Like it's almost like I think Seth had said this in our chat, which is like if you gave somebody an opportunity to pick the Browns lead marketing tool. Like if
That
you gave a Steelers fan a contest and you can pick who represents the Browns from somebody would pick dude wipes because it's that funny to be like wiping the brown shit. And it's like
that one is
that,
just so
but that's
bad.
like that is like all of it in one where they don't see the optics of so many things they do. There's a tone deafness at times. I think they should, let me put it this way. Do I think they care enough? No. I don't think they care enough, but they care. They need to care more because they are going to start really relying on people to pay. And when you are dancing this dance, Brad, of 23 of 27 losing seasons since coming back into the league,
Yep.
you are going to lose generations of fans. You are. I'm telling you.
The it's a thin line. I'll just say this because you don't want like football decision side. You don't want them accounting for the fans' opinion of like
Mm-hmm.
Shador, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that impacting anything you're doing. Like that can't. You start listening to the fans, you'll be sitting with them, is the saying, right? And to a certain degree, that is true. But then there's the fringe organizational stuff, the optics stuff that you have control of that doesn't affect the day to day operations of a team that they're whiffing on a lot, I think, as well.
That's very fair. And they're gonna, like I said, keep relying on them more and more when you have to start selling these PSLs and these season tickets for this dome you had to build. It's going to get tougher if you can't start making some movement in the next 2 years here. I would just say that. And like, and I'm talking about the massive amount of like fans they could be missing out on over a large period of time here.
Yeah.
Like for example, my son is 7,
Yeah.
and on Sundays he goes and does a practice that he's involved in. And he comes home and it's usually like midway through the Browns game, and I tell him, "Hey man, they're losing again," and I could feel him caring less and less
Yeah.
about it because I'm telling him that, "No, they're losing again, buddy." He doesn't, that's just a part of it. It is like I had nephews who grew up who are now 19, and one of them is a Browns fan, diehard Browns fan, and one of them just picked the Eagles because he was young and they were winning and the Browns stink. Like that's it. That's what you're running up against. So, maybe they care about that, maybe they don't, but they should. They should.
I apologized to my son after he watches.
Yeah.
So we watched the game together, and I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry I did this
That
to you.
reminds me, somebody sent. I'm really sorry, and on a future podcast, I'm going to rectify this. Man, I cannot remember whose name it is. The book I have, it's on my kitchen table. I can't walk away during a pod, but I will get this right on a future show. They sent me a book that they wrote. I don't know if they wrote it. I don't know who's published it, but it was like an apology for. It was like it was providing an apology to your kid for having them be Cleveland Browns fans.
Yep.
And I loved
So
it. It was great, and I need to share that, and I will share that on a future pod because it's really good. Really
It's a
good.
real thing. It's a real
Yeah.
feeling I feel when I look at him across, like, it's like, man.
Yeah. But also, like, how else are we supposed to do that? Like, I follow the
You can't
Browns
help it.
because my dad
Yeah.
and mom did, and they did
Yeah.
because their parents did, my grandparents. And it's like, I have thought many times, well before I was really doing deep dive Browns coverage like this, like, what if I cared about another team? I just can't. I can't do it. I can't like be a cowboy. So I just like, and I'm not even trying to be like I can't not be. It doesn't even interest me. It doesn't even
Right.
interest me. I've just been wired to care about Ohio teams. I
Yep.
can't care about any other place. Just can't do it.
Passionately, I care about Ohio
It
teams.
is so weird how we get wired that way, and I just obviously could be a fan of some other place. Could be a fan of Cincinnati. They're in Ohio, right? And I love Joe Burrow. Not been a secret around that. I think he's just the most just complete package of an NFL quarterback if you stay healthy. And he's just the way he carries himself and all of that. I love it, but I can never imagine caring about the Bengals like that. Can't do it.
No. All right. Dave Street says, I know Brad talked about Mariota last week, and we have all mentioned exploring a Mac Jones trade. The vet that piques my interest is Geno Smith. I believe he immediately makes this offense competitive. I understand it would probably take Vegas firing Pete for him to be cut or traded. What are your guys' thoughts on Geno Smith?
It's not been very good this year, and we just watched it up close. He missed a lot of downfield throws and opportunities. The contract, I don't know for sure what that looks like. It's not cheap, but I don't want to speak to sort of like acting like I know every detail of if he was traded or cut and how all that shapes. I know that the Raiders fans are certainly trying to figure out how they get out of whatever they agreed to with him, but I wouldn't have much of an interest there. Would it be better quarterback play than what we've seen for the totality of this year? Maybe if they protect him better.
It wasn't
they're a
much
mess.
better.
Yeah.
Even against
I'm just saying, like,
Shador.
maybe away from whatever Chip Kelly was doing, and maybe with a little better O-line play, and but I don't, I don't have yearning for no, Geno. I'm sorry. I think there are just different options that I'd be more appealing, would find more appealing.
Same. And Dave, maybe you've seen more Raiders football than I have this year. I must admit I haven't seen a ton. I've only seen really the Browns game and then clips.
We have only time to watch one bad football team, Dave.
Yeah,
we cannot watch another one.
And he was so bad in that Browns game that I find it hard to jump on that bandwagon of wanting him. But to your point, maybe he has been better the other parts of the year. I'll have to dig into that. Todd Trout is up next in the mailbag here, brought to you by FanDuel and Monterey Dental. Browns film breakdown mailbag week 14. Are there any free agent offensive linemen becoming available for the Browns to go after in 2026? Well, of course there are. There will be a number of them.
I have a few that we can discuss real fast, lightning fast.
Yep.
Tyler Linderbaum's probably going to get out of Baltimore. They can't afford to pay all these guys. He's going to be pricey though. So he's as far as projected free agents, number 2 on this list I am looking at. Don't know with Whippler that you need to go that route, but he's interesting. Braden Smith from the Colts. He's had a better year this year, but he's also 30. I don't know. That's the guy who's ranked number 5 on the list of O linemen. So keep that in mind. He's a tackle. There's not going to be many tackles. Rasheed Walker from Green Bay, who is 26 entering the next year. Pretty strong pass block win rate. So, this is also, extensions with their own team. This is all very, very fluid,
Fluid.
to say the least. There are only 3 offensive linemen in the top 25 of this list, and I just told you them. Even to give you a barometer, number 25 is Greg Newsome. So,
Ooh.
and they also list as honorable mentions, and this is Matt Bowen, who does pretty good NFL film work. In the honorable mentions list is Joel Bitonio. So, there you go.
Yeah. I took a peek. I'm not going to dive into it. There are some. We mentioned this before. I think that I don't think you can attack. You don't want to attack tackle in free agency, like you want to stay away from wide receiver in free agency.
Mhm.
At least starting level guys. Like depth is okay, I think, but um, I wouldn't mind seeing them maybe grab a guard or something in free agency,
Here you
or
go. You ready?
whatever,
I got
or
another one
some
for you.
depth.
15
Yeah.
underrated 26 free agents set to cash in from Pro Football Focus. All
Okay.
right. Isaac Siamalu from Pittsburgh, the 32-year-old guard who's had a better year this year. But again, there you go. Ed Ingram from Houston,
Yeah.
dreary start to his career, the 6th highest PFF grade for them. Good run blocking, pass protection, not quite as good, but good run blocking. He'll only be 27. So there's another name. They do mention Devin Bush as one of them, to which
Yeah.
we agree. Jermaine, this is from the Giants. Jermaine
Yeah.
Elumenor. So decent
Yeah.
pass block metrics, pass block efficiencies up there. So he's a name
He's
that
a
you can just
tackle
say
though, right?
he is a tackle. Yep. Center Luke Fortner from the Saints, who's been filling in for Eric McCoy. And that's the end of the O lineman in this list.
Yeah. They mentioned Josh Simpson, guard from the Jets. Evan Neal, guard for the Giants. Has Neal been good?
Neal has not been very good, but I
Okay.
think that people are still enticed with his
Yeah.
athleticism and all of that.
You mentioned Braden Smith, and there's a lot of Browns guys on this list too. So
The 50 best free agents from Sports Illustrated looming. Here we go. Last thing.
yeah.
Linderbaum's 4. Braden Smith is 8 in this list. Let's keep moving down. There, Rasheed Walker's 15. Let me see. We're down to 25, so that's the end of their 25 O lineman. It's going past that now into the 30s. Elijah Vera Tucker, but he's been injured so often.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. He's 35. Batonio is 39. Teller is 40. So there's your sign on some of this stuff, guys. And Njoku is 46. And that is the end of the offensive lineman. It is a pretty shallow, right now, group of free agent O linemen for a league that needs as many of them as they can find. But the Browns could be in play. Could be in play
Yeah.
for somebody.
I mean, adding a piece here or there or depth does make some sense if you're turning this thing over.
I think that's why they're trying Tevin Jenkins, man. They're trying to
Yeah.
sort that out to see if they want to continue that relationship. That's
I'd
for
like to
sure.
see him do it so
Yeah.
far, but we'll see.
It would
All
help
right.
them solve something that they
Yeah.
need to get solved.
All right. Last question of the night. The rest of your questions will get answered in the opening drive by Jake. Fantastic. The obsessive. What is the likelihood of trading Kevin Stefanski this offseason? What do you think he would bring in return? A day 2 or day 3 pick? Question mark. Do you think you could get anything in a trade for him? I don't think you can trade Kevin. So,
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think so. You really, if you go and look at it, only the biggest names in the profession get traded as coaches. Like they're rare. So no, I don't. I don't
especially
think that's happening.
coming off this record, like,
Yeah.
wouldn't they just be like, "I will just wait for you guys to fire him if we want him that
Yeah.
bad"? Like,
Yeah. I don't think so. And again, the only way that would happen, it would be like a really, really like well-known fact behind NFL circles about what's gone on in the Cleveland circus
yeah,
here. That's
yeah.
the only way, because like again, the NFL coach trades are not very common. People float that around a lot, but they really don't happen very often. I'm trying to look real quick. the best examples of. Obviously, the Sean Payton one is pretty big, but again, that's Sean Payton who had won. He's a Super Bowl winner, man. Bruce Arians, for a 6th round pick.
Traded?
Sometimes these are also guys who have not been coaching for a minute.
Yeah.
And have like who like have a lingering
Still
contract.
Contract.
Gruden was an 0-2 from Tampa to Oakland, and that was like 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, and
that was
a
the
big
weirdest trade ever because didn't they then turn around and win?
Yeah, they went up against the Raiders.
Yes.
Right away. And then Belichick was traded in like 2000. He was immediately resigned from the Giants, I think, or the Jets, excuse me. And the Patriots ended up giving like a 1st, 4th, and 7th, and then Don Shula in 1970. This is not going to happen. It's just, could Harbaugh maybe, or Tomlin maybe, for like a nothing burger, like a 6th, 7th, but like just because those guys have some cachet,
I'd give up a 3rd or 4th for Tomlin. I might even go higher.
Yeah, I think I would probably go higher for Harbaugh than I would for Tomlin, but the only reason is Tomlin,
that's fair.
And I'll just give my stance on this, has really struggled to identify offensive coordinators to find success for him. And some of his 4th down stuff is really concerning too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. You can miss me, the people out there who are like, they don't need Tomlin, or sorry, I could not disagree more that the having a professional tone setter in your building type would do the Browns well. Just my opinion.
Yep.
So there we go. All right. That's a show. That's a lot of questions. I know we talked early too, so we didn't have a lot of time that we wanted to, but I promise, as usual, we'll have the rest of those answered in the opening drive with some really painful special teams analysis in there again on your Friday. So keep your eye out for that and plenty more. And going into the weekend, we'll have our usual football championship game version of picks and prospect spotlight. Might be a Heisman winner championship game here between Ohio State and Indiana, just where it might be. Might be funny if saying really outplays Mendoza and like wins that game, might win the Heisman, but he's 2nd team All Big Ten and lost the award for quarterback of the year to Mendoza. So it could be funny like that. How that works out.
And all the people, Jake, talk trash about these games because, like, Georgia and Bama are both in. Ohio State and Indiana are both in. Like, what is there to gain here?
Yeah. That's a good conversation. We'll save that for Saturday, but that is a very fair conversation and why they're talking about going to 16 teams and some different varieties of things that make these make more sense. I will say, just for Saturday, Ohio State hasn't won one of these since 2020, and Indiana hasn't won one of these in like ever. So these two teams definitely care. The Georgia-Alabama side, maybe there's a shoulder shrug that happens there because they're definitely both in, but they're like not going to matter to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
seeding
1 versus 2.
Isn't really going to matter.
Yeah. Maybe the winner definitely will get a bye. So that part of it is like appeal. I can't say definitely. Alabama might not get a bye still, but nonetheless, it's not as big as this Ohio State. That's why I do like the gravity of 1 versus 2 here. And the NFL, like, we're watching it from the Browns' perspective of Mendoza. That could be fun. And then we're also like, mostly people care about Ohio State, so that's fun. It'll be entertaining.
I think both teams and coaches care about winning the Big Ten championship too.
I definitely do. I think it'd be a little different if Ohio State had won it in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a team that wants to do like all of the stuff they've missed out on, since they've been there. So can't wait to watch it. We will be here to cover everything for you. Catch you tomorrow, opening drive. Tell someone you know about Browns Film Breakdown. Give them a gift. It's sitting there for you. Take advantage of it. We greatly appreciate you spending time with us today and being with us on the website, brownsfilmbreakdown.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like, subscribe button. We'll keep growing and putting content here for you guys as well. Thanks for being here. Brad and I greatly appreciate you. Enjoy your Friday. Go Browns.